Sensors online. Weapons online. All systems nominal.
Do you have hard, vicious battles at the front? Do you desperately fight to fend off the enemy's attacks? Do you wonder, is it supposed to be this hard? Perhaps I'm doing something wrong. Have you asked yourself, maybe there's a different way? Or maybe you've wondered why it feels like you're carrying the team, but the rest of the force seems to not really be doing their job. Is there something that you should do or could do better to help them understand? Well, there is. And today we're going to examine why some of the teams seem to not understand it's a team. I'm not saying that people don't know how to work together. It's like they seem to have developed a almost hive mentality and a forced perspective of we must do this one thing all the time. And it's getting rather frustrating for me. So I wanted to show what I mean. So let's start examining some combat footage. This is an interesting little match, and I've seen this happen a lot. This is on Forest Colony in the cave, obviously. I waited at the other end for quite some time trying to get other players to come over and help me. None of them would. Everyone ran over to the water side doing this long-range duel, missiles and sniping, etc. So fine, I came through all by myself. I'm running a Shadowhawk. I see a Shadowhawk. I had 3 AC-2s mounted on this thing. I opened up, and he never even knew what hit him. He was gone. Collapses. Still, no one is going to come. No one's moving on the other side. I'm just quite fed up with the fact that all the players obsess with going to the one side. They clump together in one group like this mob, and then they don't even push or do anything. Just sit back there and snipe or do different other long-range maneuvers. So I said, fine, I'll sacrifice my mech, move out up here, because right now they're just kind of stalemated, shooting off at each other. And I mean, the side's completely open. I come right up here, virtually next to their mechs. The other side, they don't even know I'm here. I just open up, just tear into them, create a big distraction. Everyone starts looking at me. And I fire off about as much as I think I can get away with. Then I start trying to withdraw. Again, my goal is to just draw people away from the front so they're not able to focus on my teammates advancing on their position. I run off around the corner over here. I try to turn around and make a little bit of a stand here to do a little bit more damage. Fight on a bit. And I didn't last long, obviously. I got so tore up in between my attack, and I'm just not designed for that. I did 251 damage. But my distraction that I created literally created a cascade effect in the opposing team. And right here is the ending results. We won, and I got a total of 1 kill, 2 assists, just because of the others I damaged, as well as the 251 damage that I did. It's like players just clump together and move off. In this match, it's Forest Colony again. I'm just on the other side. I took up a defensive position by the cave, running basically a support mech, a Shadowhawk, and posted in the chat, anyone want to come over and help me? A couple different times I tried to post this, get somebody to come, 2 or 3 mechs would come over with, just one more mech would come over with me. We'd be able to hold that opening against their push if they pushed through, and if they didn't, we could just drive in and take care of it. Well, no one would. Actually, one person replied saying only mechs with LBX, and he rattled off a couple different weapons as if only mechs equipped with those weapons could possibly go this route. Otherwise, it was totally pointless. You can't go that route. Almost everyone in the team were missile boats. Now, I don't have a problem with missile boats. It takes some skill to run those. But when it reaches a point that 80% of the mechs in a match are missile boats and just a handful of long-range snipers or brawlers or something out there doing some spotting, Both teams, the entire team, is out there covering the water side. So I got fed up. I just pushed through the cave, went through the other side, and I'm sure you'll be surprised on this one. When I went through onto the other side, I found nothing at all. And it was a point, the other team was completely open. I just walked up, got into their deployment zone, their base, started capturing it. By this point, the other team was essentially in collapse because they weren't able to do with the other shooting back and forth. No one even covers the flanks anymore. You know, one of the reasons I run the Cicadia so much is in a group game like this, the flanks are often open, and if I have no one covering me, I'm fast enough to get in and out of trouble on my own, because I can't really rely on other players helping me out, teaming up. I almost feel like it's pointless to try. In this match, I literally just finished posting my message to have somebody come over to the flank, and I get jumped by these small mechs, these light mechs here. And I promptly start fighting back, and I did get some help from others on my team who sent some fire support over, or came over to help me deal with them. But this is pretty poor use of these fast mechs. I mean, they have all this speed at their disposal, and they are practically just going toe-to-toe. They're at most running back and forth. A little bit of maneuvering around me, but this was pretty sad use. I mean, shoot, I'm just sitting there just firing into this spider. I'm surprised he's still alive, honestly. He should have died. But eventually he goes down, and his friend goes down, and then it's right back to square one. And the people that came over to help me with this flank instantly turn off and go back to the center. Even the fast mechs, no one's helping to cover me. And I know what you're thinking. This is, just me being, nitpicky or belly aching because a battle or two didn't go the way I wanted or I liked. And that's not my point. And believe it or not, this one and the next one that I'm going to do were right after each other. And the third one after that, or actually fourth one because there was a battle before that, the next one after that was a battle or two after. This is just a chronic problem you see all over the place. People clump together, and I think they're taking the advice of sticking together a little too seriously. It doesn't mean everyone has to clump together in an area 300 meters wide. I mean, that's not what sticking together is. In this one, I just got tired of no support, so I went off on my own, running around here, trying to be the diversion and distraction that I normally am in my Cicadia. Hori suffered critical damage. I don't have a lot of life left in me in this little support mech, so I'm here like, alright, fine. I'll go off, scout around, get on their cap, start distracting them, and see if I can't help things out on my team.
Target acquired.
But this is quite frustrating because no one does anything outside of, well, I shouldn't say no one. Vast majority of players never try anything outside of this. By stick together, I don't mean everyone pick one leader and everyone stay within 50 yards of him. It's don't be alone. 2 or 3 mechs together are far more effective than one by themselves. And it's not just because of numbers. If they get swarmed by small, fast mechs, they can group up, put their backs to each other, and help fend them off. They can help concentrate fire on enemy mechs. Even if an enemy push came through and they found them, a small group of 3 mechs, they could stall and delay them better than just one. They would just be bulldozed. This one guy came back to stop me, and we duked it out a little. I didn't have much fight left in me. He was a battle master, I believe, and maybe he was only a Shadowhawk. He was in better shape than me. And it ends. By contrast, let's take a look at this match. I posted asking to see if anyone was going to come help me on this flank. I presumed as not, so I started to advance. And I noticed, wait a minute, somebody stepped away from the crowd. Somebody in a boar's head atlas was coming to help me on the flank. Then I got attacked, so I had to cut short my revelry in the excitement of actually having somebody to run with. So I had to start dealing with this rifleman. Actually, so it's a blackjack. And we started duking it out. I'm backing up and shooting at him, and he's advancing on me. Boar's head shooting into his back. It was a pretty short match, actually. Which two others came out. One in front of me in the cave, and one behind me, flanked around the other side. A small, fast one that the boar's head went off to deal with on our flag. So I went after this guy. I'm just blasting away. It's a Shadow Hawk. And I was running my catapult K2. Probably should have paused there before going around the corner, let my heat drop a little. He'll start blasting into him. He didn't have the armor to contend with my firepower. And it was made quick work of that. So I presumed, as most other times, if I do have somebody come over and help, that's going to be right after the battle. Then they're just going to run off and leave. Let's do a quick glance around, make sure the area is secure, and the boar's head guy actually stuck with me to skip ahead in the fight because you're not going to be caring about me walking through a cave. So here we are wandering around. The enemies left their flank completely open. They sent that one group around. Nothing else. So we circled around, went on their cap, and I got a little beat up in the earlier match, but got over on their flag, and just no one challenging us. I mean, there was a weird jump there. I don't ask. That was lag. I don't know what. So else I've had that kind of thing happen. So, all right, we just got on their flag and just started capturing it, and just sat there. Wonderful boar's head atlas. If I didn't have my thermal going, if it was a different map, you'd be able to see how nice that mech looks. That's another story. And you can see it if you just press around on the flanks. Keep a buddy type system, and you can just capitalize on this and venture around, get around behind players, blow them backs out of them. And we actually won the game because the two of us were capturing their flag. There was not much mech carnage going on in the front. They were basically stalemated. No one came back to try to stop us. It was one of the most unusual matches in that regard. Usually they do come back, and I expected the two of us to really be able to do a lot of damage. If they tried to come back and liberate their base, we certainly weren't going to let them have it easily. And there was no other action for us. You know, I don't know why the players would clump together so much unless it's just a matter of lack of creativity. They don't think outside the box. I noticed the same type of situation in other games where players had decided that each map had to be dealt with a certain way. And it's better to flank here, it's better to go on the left here, it's better, whatever the situation was. And that became the way they dealt with all of those situations. And that's not a good situation to get into. You don't want to be predictable. Truth be told, vast majority of games, I've noticed the players all go to the right. Both teams swing around each other to the right. Or they go right down the middle. If it's resource, predominantly they go to the right. If it's assault, they go down the middle. And that's very predominant, and I find that very frustrating as a player who likes to think tactically and think outside the box and just do things different and unusual, and I'm on team after team after team that just do the same thing. So this will be the last battle I do in this reel, and I hope I don't sound like I'm belly aching or whining and complaining. That's not my point. This is just a resource game. This is one where the team actually did a lot of different things. Of course, it is resource, which is different from the assaults, which a lot of the other ones were. But I want to use this to illustrate how, when you group several small units of mechs together, not necessarily one person being the boss, just running together, doing things, it's so much more effective. Usually when I run, particularly on this map, but usually on resource, I'll see what direction everyone else is going, I'll go the opposite, try to grab some resources. This way, if the enemy main force is going around that side facing me, I will spot them and I'll be fast enough to disengage and run away. And if they go around the other way, they're going to get tied up by the main force, and I can start gathering more resource points. Skipping ahead, coming up on this resource, I have several other small, fast mechs that caught up with me and are running with me, no problem. And it's not a matter of either one of us is the boss or in charge. We're just running along, gathering resource points. Sometimes I'm in the lead, sometimes it's one of the others. We take off in one little vast swarm, heading on up the road, moving around the next point. And any enemy mechs we run across are quickly just devoured by this little pack of piranhas, if you will.
Target acquired.
Right now there's this guy sniping up from the hill, and it's no problem. It's really scary what you can do with a mech when it has a really big, powerful engine. I literally just go up the side of this hill here. Part of it's because I have the speed that this mech's capable of, and I just think it's funny. I can almost go straight up a cliff if I find the right point that's just a slight incline. So we just start jumping all over this guy, tearing him down. No matter what he does, somebody's on his back. He's just scrambling around trying to find someplace to be safe. And I just spot that spider and I just tag along with him, because I know together we're far more effective. We're not on the exact same path, we're just in the same general area, moving off, moving around a flank, heading off to the next resource point. He's a little beat up, you can see he's trailing smoke. He's unafraid though, he charges on. So often in these games, I mean, this really is a thinking person's game. It has awesome tactical strategies that you're capable of. You can make your mech jump capable to avoid obstacles. You can make your mech about long range, short range, fast, slow, thick armor, thin armor. The list goes on. You can design a mech in so many different ways, so many different strategies. And I see people just obsessing over this brute force mentality that really isn't going to have them do really effective mech warfare. It's variety that is really the spice of life, and its variety is the spice of the battlefield. Natasha Karinsky said that. If you're into I'm sure the old BattleTechers knew the quote, who it was from, and I'm sure some would be upset that I didn't quite get the quote just right. The point is, if everyone runs the same force all the time, you get used to it and you can adapt. I have done this to people in tournaments, I've done this to people in all sorts of situations. If you know the force they're going to build, you can build to destroy it. So if you start seeing everyone running these missile boats, these long range things, build something that's got good speed, great close-in firepower, just close and just blow the snot out of them. And there's nothing they will be able to do about it. This is the last Atlas, last mech on the other team. And he is... I'm not sure if this was a trial mech at the time. The player, he didn't seem to have no idea how to use the mech. It's not that. But he seemed to have been given up on trying to maneuver. He just stayed at this one resource point and tried to defend it. And just me and the spider start tearing into him. No matter what he does, one of us gets around behind him. No matter how he maneuvers, finally he gives up on the resource and starts leaving. That's when some other mechs come in and really start tearing him up. Starts losing appendages, and we really go to town just tearing him down. Kind of almost feel sorry for him. It's like, shouldn't they put a surrender button in here? You know, pop the hatch. I give up. There's just no way. There's too many light mechs here. He's at this point has almost no arsenal left, and there he goes down. That's what can happen when a team works together. I'm not just referring to a bunch of fast. If you just had some moderate speed, decent mechs configured, moving together, one brawler, one support, maybe a long-range mech with it, you could get some really good stuff going. If you want to do well, don't let yourself get locked into these scenarios of the same mech all the time. If another player asks for support, go over and help support them. If another player in a situation or you see everyone clumping together, see if you can get somebody to follow you off and help flank on a side. I mean, it won't always work as well as some of these have, but you'll find it works very well. Well, until next time, game on.